Everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. What you're looking at right now is JForex, which is the proprietary software platform from Dukascopy. So I'm just testing around the strategies capability within this platform. I'm quite surprised on how extensive it is, how easy it is to manage everything. So let me just show you. This is the charting, obviously, if you have seen my previous video. Everything, the platform supports Java. And I just went in and downloaded this SDK sample set. And this is a single Java artist. Single jar test of a very simple strategy. When you go in to the documents, you will find typical. What is it? It's actually, if you go to this link here, Dukascopy Forex Trading API docs. I've got a list here where you can get all these documents from. So there's a bunch here. There's this one for wiki, not forum examples. So this will show you how to integrate with to send ticks from JForex into MySQL, another database here. In our case, we're working with a CSV. Excuse me. Wow. Okay, so CSV, comma separated value file. So that's what we're going to be working with. So this is a typical main example. It does work. And then I went ahead and tried out this one. If I can pull it up. So in here we have something called practices. So you can practice all these different strategies in Java. The one I'm working with is obviously write bars to CSV or file or any of these areas or any of these output to a database or whatever, but instead I'm just doing this write ticks to CSV. So my IDE NetBeans, we've got the code all set up. Let me just show you the code actually. So this is it here. This will kind of walk you through very simple ways of interfacing with a GUI. I'll show you this in a minute. It's very similar to MetaTrader if you've worked with it. What do you do when you start up the script, or sorry, the strategy on messages? So you have all these different custom methods that you can override to do certain actions based upon what the platform JForex is doing. So here on bar, what we can do is we can output to the file, and that's what I'm going to show you in a minute. So it's pretty simple. So when you boot up the JForex, it's coming here under strategies, and then what you can do is you load in your strategy. So in my case, I have a strategy called export to CSV Java, and you just open it, and what will happen is it will ask you for, this is the GUI I was mentioning, the graphical user interface for the strategy. So you'll notice here the configurable parameters that this little strategy has. So instrument, period, offer side, file. If you go into the code here for the Java, as I said, it's very similar to how MetaTrader works as well. So you can see here, these are all the arguments that you can set, and then have those work within your strategy code on the Java front. So that's pretty cool. Pretty straightforward if you're familiar, as I said, with MetaTrader. So there's that. The other thing is you can specify where you want the file to be. So in my case, I'm working with this JForex test. Okay, so I'm going to set that. So let me just show you that file before we get this running. So if I do an editor on that JForex test, let me just do a ls JForex test. Okay, so you can see here that the file is about 2168 bytes long. That's the size of it. And if I do a sublime on that file, the editor, that is, there you go. So there's the file. So what we're working with is no different than what I've done with IQ feed and the Q collector. As I said, this is coming right from the platform JForex. So we have our date, time, open, high, low, close, and I believe this may be volume. I have to verify what this last one is. And you can definitely work with it. Now, if you look at the configuration, it asks you what instrument you want to work with. So in our case, we have all these different available instruments at our disposal. And as I said before, we could even work with weird things like yuan, there's the Turkish lira and the Japanese yen. We have the Mexican peso. So it's pretty good. All right, so knowing that, and here's the gold and silver that I've shown in an earlier video. So let's just stick with the Euro USD 1 minute data offer side. So we'll just stick with the bid, and then that's pretty well it. So we're gonna run it. So now it's running, and that's it. We just sit around and it collects the files. As I said earlier, here, but obviously we can't get access to it because it's being locked by the JForex software. So that's pretty well how you can run everything with this custom strategy, exporting it to a CSV. So that enables me with a few tweaks with the Python script that I showed earlier with the entry and exit. I just got to change the data as my data source, and play around with the fields to match up to what's available in the JForex. So that's pretty straightforward. The big challenge is to actually get my Python scripts, does this analysis, comes across some kind of position it wants to be put on, then we have to send a signal from the Python script through Redis, through the queue, and then into JForex somehow. So I'm looking at some example code, and there's quite a bit out there. The support forum is quite good as well, which is there exists a forum. So let's say you want to find something on, I don't know what this will pull up. So this will be an example source code example of database. And the nice thing is, I don't know if this is still recent, like Oanda, whereas this person posts a question and then you get a follow-up of the support. So that's not bad. 13:27 the time, and I guess 6-7 hours later. But I was told through their support that there is live support for the API between, was it 12 and 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which is out of the UK, it sounds like. So overall, everything seems to be working fairly well, and yeah, I'm really surprised on how easy this was with the documentation, the forum, the wiki that Dukascopy's made available. Comparing this to Oanda, this just really puts Oanda to shame. I don't know how Oanda will intend to stay in business while I'm still waiting on an open ticket and just the dog's breakfast on the API presentation and lack of documentation from Oanda. It's really atrocious compared to getting this thing working from zero knowledge, literally in a few hours, and actually get it working. I have a much better handle on it. One other thing I would like to put out there about JForex versus MetaTrader. Hopefully you know my stance on Microsoft and Windows technologies. I do like Mac. I don't mind Linux. Because this JForex is obviously written in Java, I'm going to take a large assumption. I'm sure it's not a Jello Forex that we're dealing with. It's JForex, Java Forex. And because of that, that enables you to be able to run this software on pretty well on all the major operating systems, including Mac. Now, when you check for MetaTrader, no such luck with a non-Windows version. So this is what's forcing me to use JForex. So overall, pretty happy with the experience. I am testing out the support team to see if they are responsive as of today for January 26, 2017. So I just want to put that out there for everybody, and we'll go from there. Over and out. Talk to you later.